Hello, all my beautiful people. It's time for another fun episode of If You Give a Dad a Podcast. And we would just like to say, welcome to this episode. Whether this is your first time tuning in, or maybe you've been listening for a long time, we appreciate you being here and listening to this episode that we have here today. I am joined by my co host, Nick. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
Reverend. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're excited about this episode like I am,
I
huh?
am. I'm a
Yeah.
little bit excited about the episode. People are gonna be like, "What the f was that?"
Well,
But once you listen, unless you already see who's the guest, then it will all click. It will all click.
then you know. Yeah. This man, I had a blast recording this. He was so much fun to talk with. And the guy that I'm talking about, for people who are not, I don't know how you wouldn't know who we're talking about, but
I'm
I am
trying to think.
talking,
How would they not know?
yeah,
Um, Maybe they were listening to the previous episode and then like
it just went
Netflix or
right
something,
into
and
it.
right into the next one.
Yeah, yeah, that is very possible. So if you're just listening to last week's episode where Nick talked to Mike Bakoven, then you are tuning into this one now, and you're probably like, who is this week's guest? Well, I talked to Scott Ennis. He is a man of many voices, a man of many talents, but he is known for playing Scooby-Doo and Scrappy and
See,
Shaggy
see.
and Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble, and you name it, he has done a ton. In fact, if you're looking at the episode art, all of those cartoon characters that are surrounding him, those are ones that he's done. And so, yeah, this is a really cool episode, one that I've been waiting to do for quite a while. I think I
Long
started,
time.
I think, Nick, was it February whenever I first started talking to him to try to get him on the show?
I think so, because I met him in like March or April or something, and you had already been speaking to him for a bit.
Right. And because I think he actually said something to you about it. It was like he was excited to be on the show or something like that, I
Oh
think.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because I went up to him and I was like, "Hey man, I'm Jared's friend." I don't think I was on the podcast at that time, so
Yeah.
maybe it
So
was. I don't
I
know.
think you were just if you weren't, you were just about to be. Like we talked about it and it was going to happen.
Well, I
So,
know I had moved here when I went there. I'm pretty sure.
right,
That was at
right.
like Kansas, right?
Yes, that was Kansas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was living here.
Okay. So
What was
yeah,
that?
maybe you were on the show at that point then.
What was that noise?
What noise?
You didn't hear it?
No.
Oh.
What did it sound like?
Oh, I guess it was Skype for Business opening up on my thing, which no longer exists, but for some reason I can't delete it off my computer. Anyways, that's nothing to do with the show.
But yeah, so I'm really stoked about this one. And he was a fun guest, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. Nick, are you
I'm
excited for
excited.
this?
I'm
Oh,
super excited, Jared. I don't know if you can tell the excitement that is brewing within my loins, but
oh.
it's there.
All right. Well, if you guys are as excited as I am, then let's get this show on the road.
Honestly, I'm ashamed of myself, but let's go.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming back to the show. My name is Jared. I am the host here at If You Give a Dad a Podcast, and I'm really stoked about tonight's episode. This is one that I've been kind of working on for a minute to get to make happen, and we're finally here tonight. I am, like I said, very excited. The guy I have on here tonight is a voice actor. He is an author. He's a songwriter. He's also a radio personality. He's done pretty much everything that you could think to do when it comes to voice acting. He's been in TV shows, movies, video games, commercials, you name it. He's done a little bit of it all. Some of the voices that you might know him as is Foghorn Leghorn, Yogi Bear,
I said, pay attention, boy.
Boo Boo. We've got
Yeah, I'm Boo Boo Bear. Hi, everybody. And I'm always trying to keep Yogi out of trouble. Hey, this is Yogi Bear. Jeez.
Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, but dabba do. Tonight, Bonnie, you and I are going bowling. All right, Fred.
and some a few more characters. We got Scooby-Doo and Shaggy as well.
Scooby-Doo, where are you? Oh, I'm over here. Scooby-Dooby-Doo on Give a Dog a Podcast.
Scott Ennis, man, how are you doing tonight?
I'm just so glad you got the name right. You know how many times I get called up? Like, I was on the Grand Ole Opry, and I'll never forget, I was getting the CMA for Air Personality of the Year back in the late 90s. And Pam Tillis, who, by the way, I love her daddy. Her daddy and I have done a movie together called Hunting Buddies.
Okay.
With Tim Conway, and it was just funny stuff. Anyway, here I am getting ready to, be called up for one of the biggest awards in my life. And Pam Tillis says, and the CMA for Media Market Air Personality goes to Scott Ines. And I got up there, and I was wearing this whole black tux, with Scooby-Doo embroidered on the side.
Yeah.
I said, thank you all. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. By the way, it's Ennis, Scott Ennis. And I went, but let's hear it for Pam Tiles, ladies and gentlemen. Pam Tiles.
Oh, that's great. So I can relate to that. Everybody mispronounces my last name too. So
how do you say your last name?
Rao.
Rao?
Rao.
Rao. Oh, boy. Not Ruh-Roh? I thought it was Ruh-Roh.
It's not Row. Yeah, so I can totally, understand how that is. And I remember watching that clip earlier today, and I was like, oh my goodness, am I mispronouncing it? Until you got up there, and it was like, it's Ennis. It's not Ines. So, yeah. But man, again, I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to do this. And we'll kind of start off with this.
Hey, take your time. It's only costing you $20 a minute. I'm good.
I'll see you later. Yeah, have a good night.
I know. Yeah. If you're a true dad, you're like, well, we lost Scott. I don't know where he went, but
yeah. So you started out in radio at a very young age. I believe it was 12 is when you started doing radio. What kind of led to you doing that? Because I know you started doing voices pretty early on as well.
Well, look, I was the class clown.
Yeah.
I showed up at this skating rink called Skate City in my hometown of Poplar Bluff, Missouri. And they had a DJ up there, and all the chicks were Googling over him and everything. And he was the dude. And so I thought, dude, I could do that. Because I'm not a looker. And I thought, but if I'm playing those songs and them girls are begging me to play the songs, maybe I can score. And here I am, this fat kid in husky jeans and a whole bit. So I get behind that microphone. So first of all, I went for the job interview because they were looking for another DJ. First thing the guy says is, can you skate? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, who can't skate? That'd be stupid. Well, I couldn't skate a day in my life. And so he goes, well, good. You start this Friday night. He goes, why don't you come in on Thursday and we'll get you fitted for some skates. I said, okay, no problem. So I remember coming in on Thursday, and I faked a limp. And he goes, man, what happened? I said, oh, man, I was jumping a ditch playing baseball, and I've kind of sprained the ankle. So the doctor's like, he don't want me on skates and everything. And that really ticks me off, man, because I was fixing to show you some triple action, somersaults and stuff. And he's like, well, I can't wait to see it, but man, I hope you feel better. I said, so I'm in tennis shoes. So about for the first 2 weeks, I got by with that,
Yeah.
Finally, the guy goes, we're going to need to see you skate. Come on, Scott. We got to get you out there. So I got out there and I fell a bunch of times, and I had to act like, oh man, my ankle's still. So it bought me about another week. Finally, the guy comes up to me. I'll never forget. He comes up to me and he goes, hey, can we just cut the crap? I said, what? And he goes, you haven't skated a day in your life, have you? I said, no, I'll be honest. But he goes, but you're a great jock. And he says, so I'm not going to fire you. I need you. So yeah. I'm sitting there doing that whole disc jockey thing. And a guy walks in. His name's Skipper T. And Skip Spence, but they call him Skipper T. And Skip, we just lost Skip about a month ago. But he said, man, how would you like to come up to KLID and watch me do my thing on like Sunday afternoons? Well, really what he was asking me to do is because he was a little bit on the lazy side. He wanted me to come up and run the board while he went home.
Oh,
but
okay.
he taught me, and one thing led to another, and I found myself running, Casey Kasem and American Top 40 and
Yeah.
all the church programs, and life is really funny. Sometimes, especially in my life, I've had so many serendipity moments. Finish answering your question, so I became a radio personality at that time, and I started running American Top 40 and Jimmy Swaggart. God, I used to run Jimmy Swaggart's albums every freaking morning. They would deliver them on an album, the show, and I'll never forget using the restroom one time, and his album got stuck on "Go to Hell, Go to Hell, Go
Oh
to Hell."
no.
Yeah, and that's a true story. And here we just lost this morning. We lost. I became friends through the years with Jimmy Swaggart,
Yeah.
and I would run into him at dinner because he lives here in Baton Rouge, and he passed away today. So, when you think about that fabulous trio, you had Jimmy Swaggart, you had Jerry Lee Lewis,
Hmm.
and you had Mickey Gilley, and all three of them I was really good friends with.
Really?
So, yeah, so it's just kind of weird how life throws you a bunch of weird stuff. I was the last one to have lunch with Conway Twitty the day he died
Wow.
in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
And so, it's like my son used to tell me, he used to say, Dad, he said, if you didn't actually have legit proof and got the pictures to prove it, been there, done that, I would call you a liar. But you have got some serendipity moments in your life and one of them is meeting Don Messick. Ever since
Yeah.
I was a kid, I wanted to be the voice of Scooby-Doo. And
Yeah.
all these years later, here I am.
So you've brought up a few names there that I I was raised by an older generation than most kids my age. I'm 36, and but my dad actually played at Gilley's in Texas. He was
Oh, cool.
actually a lead guitar player for one of the bands that was there, one of the attractions that they had at Gilley's, and it was Jimmy Wayne and the Bourbon Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And so hearing you say that, that's really cool. That got brought up, and man, I uh, I love hearing those kind of stories because you've got such a rich background, even going beyond the voiceover stuff. You are into music and you've created music as well. So I I kind of want to talk about that a little bit, your music
Yeah.
side of things. I know that you are a music writer, and you've written many different songs. Oh, he's pulling out the guitar here.
No, I don't play, but I fake it.
You fake it, okay?
Yeah, I couldn't. I was in here a while ago before I got on the phone with you, and I was going, Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? My wife opens up the door and she's like, really? And I'm like, I know. I'm just pretending I know what I'm doing. I said, I would love to be able to grab the guitar someday and
Yeah,
have someone go, oh, and then have me just start playing like something really real.
yeah.
But yeah, I can't. I couldn't play this if my life depended on it. But it's actually signed by Dylan Scott. So
Okay.
yeah, he's a friend of mine, from upstate here in Louisiana. But so yeah, I dabble. I've always been a writer. I don't write music, but I get a melody in my head, and some of my dear friends that I am partners with, bring it to music, and but
Right,
they all hear my melody that I'm singing it to,
right.
and but I a lot of things. I think my first taste of writing something big that I didn't get credit for, um, which I'm totally okay with. A lot of people don't know the backstory, but one of my best friends was Jimmy Jameson. He was the lead singer of Survivor,
Okay.
and The Search Is Over, High on You, Can't Hold Back, Two Worlds Collide, Rival
Yeah.
Nations, in Rocky Four or whatever. And so he called me one day when I was in Springfield, Missouri, and I was doing radio there at the time, and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, "Oh man, I'm fixing to go into the studios at Arden Studios in Memphis and do the theme to Baywatch." And I said, "Wow, I love Baywatch." He says, "I've never seen it." I said, "You've never seen Baywatch?" He laughed. He said, "No." He goes, "Why don't you help me write it? Why don't you?" Because he knew we'd written some songs together. We actually had written a song that got put on hold by Sylvester Stallone for Rocky Five. It
Okay.
was called "Steal Your Dream," Up Against the Ropes, something like that. But anyway, it ended up going rap, and they canned our song. But anyway, long story short, I wrote a bunch of lines down, from the theme to Baywatch, and I faxed them to Arden Studios. Now, I didn't hear back from Jimmy for over a month. I mean, I'm sitting there watching TV one day, and it says, "Stay tuned for Baywatch next." And I said, "Oh, I'm going to see if they're using the new theme song and if he used any of my lines." Well, it turns out that he used quite a few of the lines, and I was like, "Holy!" I was on cloud nine.
Yeah.
So I called Jimmy and I said, "Wow, you used some of the lines, huh?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I meant to tell you that." Well, he goes, "Look, to pay you back," he says, "because," he said, "I did a deal with Scotty Brothers and they own it." He goes, "I'm not making hardly any money." He says, "So I'll come do a couple of free shows for you." And he did. I mean, he opened up for Daryl Hall and John Oates for me, a couple of other, he headlined. And, and I was like, wow, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a
Yeah.
newbie at this.
Yeah.
And years later, an attorney friend of mine said, "Do you know how much money you're probably?" I said, "Dude, I'm not worried about all that." He goes, "How good of friends are you with Jimmy?" And I said, "We're best friends." And he says, "Well, yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah.
You'd have to sue him because your deal was with him." And I said, "Yeah, I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
But that was my first taste of writing something that I didn't ever get my name on. And I didn't write the whole thing.
Right.
But I did send Jimmy a bunch of lines, and he used them, and he's acknowledged it, numerous times.
Yeah.
But he asked me if I would not, bring it up while he was still alive. Of course, you're not thinking anything that a guy's going to die that early. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And I said I wasn't going to bring it up anyway.
Yeah.
And then when he passed away, I slowly told my story, so because I'm kind of proud of that.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, no credit on that. But anyway, and then I wrote handprints on the wall for Kenny Rogers and the Paper Heart for Sammy Kershaw. I've written some songs for T. Graham Brown. That he did a song called "The Fireman They Called an Angel," and he recorded that for us. And there's a few others that. I wrote a really cool song. If there's any Leonard Skinner fans out there, if you Google up "Free Bird in the Wind," type in my name, Scott Innes, Shenandoah. Marty Rabin and Shenandoah went in and sang that, and that
Okay.
was really good. It's the whole story of the plane crash of Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
And Charlie Daniels does the intro to it. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, so I've dabbled in songwriting, and of course, but I do a lot of things. People ask me, "Is there anything you don't do?" And I said, "I just do things that make me feel good."
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I mean, I woke up one morning and grabbed a pressure washer and was out there. I thought it was kind of cool to clean the concrete, watching it become real clean. So I'm even into that. I'll paint, I'll do anything I can,
Yeah.
just as long as it's making you feel good. And I think people should do that.
Right.
I think people should spend more time doing things that they love to do. Mel Blanc once told me, and of course everybody knows Mel Blanc, one of the greatest voiceover artists in the world, the voice of Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig.
Mm-hmm.
He once told me, he said, "Scott," he said, "if I can give you any advice," he said, "it's better to take a job for less money and be happy than to take a job for more money and be miserable." And I have followed that through my whole life, and it is really the truth. I have done so many jobs that I could have took that paid the big paycheck, but I didn't want to leave town, man. I'm happy here in Baton Rouge, and I'd rather be a small fish or a big fish in a small pond,
Yeah. Yeah.
than the other way around. And so that's a motto that I pass along to kids today. I'm like, just be happy and you will be great.
Right.
As long as you're happy, you will always be super at what you're trying to achieve. So
Yeah. Well, I like that, and the thing is not enough people take that to heart. Make sure that what you're doing is making you happy. Everybody,
Right.
it's all about the money, right? With a lot of people nowadays. And I mean, let's take this for example. What I'm doing right now, this is amazing. I love doing this. This is this is, one of
You
those.
never know who's going to show up in this interview. I'm telling you.
I know, yeah. So it's I you don't make anything doing a podcast, but I get to talk to some really awesome people, and I get to have this interview, and it's because I'm doing something that I enjoy, and I'm not trying to focus
Absolutely.
on, oh, well, how many, or am I going to make anything off of this? Because,
Right.
it's when you have a passion for something, it makes a big difference.
That's right, Pilgrim. Uh-huh.
So I actually had I do dad joke of the week on here,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, it's at the end of the episode because I have an opener and closer I do with my co-host Nick, and I annoy him with a dad joke every week. So and this last week's dad joke, I have friends that like react to the dad joke, and so this one he was like, no, bad, and kept cutting in. And I wish that I would have had a bunch of hats with me because I was like, that would have been funny if I would have like changed my look and every time I would cut back in. But like, no, wait a minute.
You do realize that if I was wearing a hat like your, well, hold on a minute. We could be brothers. Hold on.
There we go. Yeah.
I was looking for the my other. Oh, hold on. Well, I thought I had some headsets. I was going to
Oh,
put the headsets on too, and I would have been just like you.
yeah, yeah.
But we'd be twins. See, look at that. We're twins.
Yeah. You got the
So
beard
yeah,
going on and
same beer. We
everything.
get the
Yeah.
glasses, the
That's
whole
right.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good looking fella, man. Good
Yeah,
looking
I'm telling you,
fella there.
we're a couple of brutes, man. I'm telling you, put some Old Spice on us and some Schlitz malt liquor beer and some palm olives, and we'll be good to go.
So, what was your first impression that you ever did? Because, like I said, I know that you've been doing this for a very long time, and you started out at a young age doing impressions. I think I read that you would make up stories in your heads with these different voices and stuff to put yourself to sleep.
That's pretty much the truth. I did a lot of that. You know, my mom would say, "Okay, it's time to turn the TV off," and I wasn't
Right.
ready to go to bed, so I would recreate the day's scenes in my head,
Yeah.
and so Scooby and Shaggy were always the first ones I did, and all the characters in the Scooby franchise because I would literally recreate the whole scene. But
Okay.
I think the character that really I started watching. Remember HBO in the '70s? They'd have like these comedy shows, and like Rich Little used to host them. Everybody knows Rich Little. He was an impersonator too, and
Yeah.
he had this segment in his show where he would go out in the audience and ask anybody if they did voices. And a guy stood up and goes, "Yeah, I do Popeye." So I remember watching this guy do Popeye and how he held his voice and
Yeah.
let's get that. I'll blow me down. And that was really one of the first voices I got down to a T. And I thought, wow, I can do this. So I started watching a lot of other cartoons, which I was already watching. I just started mimicking them.
Yeah.
And, but do, Mr. Bonnie Rebel. All right, Fred. Tonight, you and me and Betty are going bowling. So I would just start mimicking these things, and I just got good at it. I would
Yeah.
hear it, and I would work on it, and I just pick up the dialect. Like Wally Gator, howdy, this here is Quick Draw McGraw, the fastest gun in the West. And so, and I'd watch other impersonators, and I spent a lot of time on the phone with Don Messick and Dawes Butler and Mel Blanc. I became friends with them, and it's really quite funny how I got a hold of them. People always ask me, well, how did you get them on the phone to do that? And I said, well, that's a good question because back then, before, all you had was a phone book,
Right.
and I knew they weren't going to probably be in the phone book, so I said, I got to figure out a way to get their home numbers. And I was in radio at the time. I was young, and I wanted to interview them. So I had perfected Casey Kasem's voice. Even as a young kid, I was pretty good at that voice. And because I spent hours running American Top 40. Listener writes, Dear Casey, moving up 5 notches this week.
Yeah.
So I called Hanna-Barbera in Los Angeles, California. And I said, it was like Hanna-Barbera. And I said, oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to call you. I said, what's your name? Oh, this is Julie. Julie, I am so sorry. My bad. I meant to call up another place in LA. She's like, oh, that's quite okay. Have a great day. So I went about 30 minutes. And I would call and be like, Hanna-Barbera. And I'd go, Hi, Julie, Casey Kasem. How are you? Oh, hi, Mr. Kasem. I said, could you? I said, I'm throwing a party and I've lost Don Messick and Dawes Butler's home numbers. Could you give them to me? And she's like, oh, yes, sir. Just a minute.
Oh my gosh.
So that's how I got the numbers.
Yeah.
And then of course, I would call Don, and Don goes, "Hi, Scott. By the way, how'd you get my number?" And I'm like, "Oh, Casey Kasem gave him to me." He goes, "Oh yeah." I said, "Casey's a dear friend of mine. Said you wouldn't mind." And I did the same thing with Casey. The whole deal.
Yeah.
So that's how I got him. I got him on the air, and I became friends with him, and I would interview him, once, twice a year.
Yeah.
And Don Messick took a liking to me, and he worked with me on the Giggle and everything. And ultimately, that's what got me the part. Years later, I was auditioning, and it got down to me and Dave Coulier from Full House, a wonderful man
Mm-hmm.
and an actor, and who's, by the way, battling cancer and all that too. So,
Right.
prayers for him. But
Yeah.
he actually wrote the foreword in my book, and
Oh.
it's pretty cool and very touching. And it got down to me and him, and Colette Sunderman, who was an assistant casting director at the time, and Chris Zimmerman, who was the head casting. They couldn't figure out which one they wanted. Colette wanted me. Chris wanted, who am I trying to think of right there? Joey, cut it out. Dave Coulier.
Yep.
So I guess Bill Hanna or Joe Barbera, I forget which one it was walking down the hall, and they brought him in and let him listen, and I guess he picked out the voice. So he goes, well, that guy's got the, Don Messick giggle to a T. So they're like, well, call Scott and tell him he's coming to LA. And then there I am 2 months later sitting in the Hollywood studios out in LA at Cahuenga Boulevard, and I'm voicing the number one cartoon character in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting next to Mark Hamill, Adrienne Barbeau, the world famous Frank Welker.
Yeah.
And, BJ Ward, all these great people, and Billy West. And it was just, wow. I even think about it looking back, and I'm still in awe that the good Lord picked me to be a part of that. It's just, it's really cool. I would have done it for free. It's just the way it is. It's when you step into the paws of Don Messick. And then we went in about a year later to do Witch's Ghost. And I had been doing some promo work as Shaggy for Cartoon Network. And I had told the casting director, Colette Sunderman, at the time, I said, well, I'm doing some Shaggy for Cartoon Network. And she's like, really? Can you send that tape out? So I did. And she played it for Davis Doy. And Davis says, well, that's Casey Kasem. She says, nope, that's Scott. And he's like, well, you tell old Scott he'll be doing Shaggy as well. So I ended up doing Shaggy and Witch's Ghost, Alien Invaders, Cyber Chase, every talking toy, video game, Super Bowl ad known to man. Still doing it. I just went in last week and I voiced Shaggy for the new in Sevierville. They had new putt-putt golf. Yeah. And I voiced the new putt-putt golf, and I just did a bunch of new talking toys. And so there's still enough of it to go around,
Right. So there was a episode of one of my favorite TV shows that had a whole cast. They actually did a whole episode of Scooby-Doo, and that's Supernatural.
Yeah.
Did you try to go out for that?
I did. And here's the problem, what happens in Hollywood sometimes. We were up for that, and it looked really good. I felt comfortable about getting that, but, when you kind of hold out a little bit, and you kind of play, you ride the fence a little bit on the money or whatever.
Right.
Oh, you got this, you're going to get this. Yeah. And then you don't get it because you were too high. Yeah. That's when I should have probably stepped in and said, look, let's just solve it. I'll do it for nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now they can't pay you nothing. Right. They have to pay you scale, if anything, but I would have done it for that, ultimately. And I ended up losing that part, which I got to tell you is kind of bad because every Comic-Con I go to, everybody wants supernatural stuff,
Right.
Right. And, but, I will say this, and it is an honor to have voiced 4 of the biggest Scooby-Doo movies of all time.
Yeah.
And Zombie Island being the Holy Grail. I mean, they'll never beat Zombie Island.
Right.
It's just that big of a movie.
Yeah.
And it's a good feeling, when you were the dog in that movie.
Yeah.
And what was kind of cool is at the end of that movie, think about it. At the end of that movie, they put up on the screen in loving memory of Don Messick, because after they gave me the part, Don passed away about 3 days after that.
Oh, wow.
So I got to feel that Don was content
Yeah.
of who they passed the torch to, only because he used to tease me through the years. He used to, and of course, you never think this is ever going to come true. But he says, "Gosh, don't let the folks at Hanna-Barbera know you do that voice that good, or they'll fire me." And he used to say that to me. It was funny, and you never think. You just laugh it off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one day it happens, and you're like, "Wow, that's
Yeah.
that's just scary."
Yeah. Well, I mean, in some ways they have the phrase, the show must go on and stuff. And it's just amazing that you were able to come through and do that part as well, you know. Um, I do kind of want to jump into a couple other things that you have here that one being the fact that you seem to kind of know everybody when it comes to, the entertainment world. Even looking at you have an event coming up in December, Cajun Con.
Yep.
The amount of talent that is at that show or that's going to be at that event is amazing.
Yeah,
You
they're
know.
all having dinner at my house the night before. No joke. No.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. And those really are a lot of my friends. There's a few
Yeah.
people I don't know that well, but these are people I've met along the way. And Comic Cons are great. You get to meet the fans, and it's such a
Right.
wonderful. But
Yeah.
I've met a lot of these other celebrity friends of mine, and one thing that I love to do is I'm a promoter. I've produced some of the biggest concerts in the history of the St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Hmm.
I produced Rockin' the Bayou down here in the Cajun Country Jam, and a bunch of these shows. And so I've been doing it for 30 years. So putting on events is kind of my specialty. And
Yeah.
we do a bunch of charity events. We've been blessed to have built 2 handicap baseball parks. We've just done a lot. And so, I go to these cons, and you see where each con is doing something wrong. Like I'm a nitpicker. So I'll nitpick, okay, that they're doing the green room wrong, or they're doing this setup wrong, or whatever. And my ride or die, Nicole, who goes with me to all these shows, Nicole Elmore, she says, "I don't know why we just don't do our own con." And
Yeah.
I said, that's an idea. So been working on it for 3 years. And so we got a date, and we started working with the vendors and got them all booked. And then we started, booking acts, and dude, it's exploded, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. And it takes a lot to get me kind of puckered. We've almost got 90 celebrities coming, and
That's
I got to
crazy.
find people to pick these people up at the airport, bring them in, handlers and stuff like that. And that's
Yeah.
not easy.
No.
So we're working through it. We got a lot of things going on, and then I'm doing Comic Cons myself every weekend almost. So
Right.
it's a lot of work, but yes, Cajun Con, folks can check it out, like it. The tickets are free, and here's the thing: I'm big on free. The a lot of cons charge $100 to get in or more, and we're doing it for free. We've gone and we got a bunch of sponsors to help us out. We're still looking for sponsors, by the way,
Okay.
but and we're reuniting the entire living cast of Willy Wonka of the kids.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really cool. Peter Ostrom's coming, Julie Dawn Cole, Veruca Salt, and Paris Thiemann, who was Mike TV. They're all coming. And it's just going to be a fun time because I'm a huge Willy Wonka fan. So we're going to do that. And then, we're bringing in the Power Rangers, the Turtles, Art the Clown's coming in, David Howard Thornton,
Hmm.
Mindy Sterling, Gray Delisle, who, by the way, is Daphne, and a Zulu from The Last Airbender and or Avatar, The Last Airbender. So, and we just have, Butch Patrick's coming, a good friend of ours, Eddie Munster. We've got 14 of the biggest WWE superstars. We've got half of the voices from Dragon Ball and One Piece.
Yeah.
So it's going to be big.
Yeah.
And it's going to be free to get in. So if folks are listening to this and want to make a drive down, you just got to get the golden ticket. But hit me up, send me an inbox message, and I'll send you a pair of free tickets. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I've talked to a few people that I think they're actually going to be at that event and everything, some of your guests on there. So I'm really excited to, see how that turns out and everything. And
I am too, because it's funny, because I told Nicole, I said, you do realize if we hit the wall at 100 mile an hour and crash on this thing, we'll never be able to show our faces again at a Comic Con. I could see me walking through these Comic Cons and everybody's going, "Hey, Ennis, how's that con coming?" I mean,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, no. So yeah, I'm a little. I've got to bring my A game on this thing, So
Yeah. It's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. So, when you're not doing cons, what do you like to do in your spare time?
everything I've talked about for the last 30 minutes, and I am
All
happy to
right.
hit it. Now listen, I love to do. I love to paint. Like, let me show you something that I just did. Oh,
Okay.
hang on. So I did a lot of these during COVID and stuff, but I suffer through panic attacks a lot. I have anxiety, and a lot of people do.
Okay.
But here's how I release my deal.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I did this, and I've done a ton more.
That is really
Um,
cool.
but
Do
it's
you
it's
sell
what
those?
I do. We
Okay.
sell these at my onescottshop.com. That's ONE scottshop.com. Operators are standing by. Um, but we got some of my prints up there, and we do a lot of these for charities. We'll auction them off for charities, and
Yeah.
it's stuff like that. That's built the ballparks and whatnot. I'll tell you one thing that's cool that we do have up on my site. We have it's the 25th anniversary of the Scooby-Doo 2002 with Matthew Lillard and all the actors. I
Yeah.
did Scrappy-Doo in that. Scrappy-Doo, it's time that you make me your unquestioned leader. Either that or I'm out of here. So we did that, and so I've got an 8x10 up of that show, and it's pretty cool. And we'll sign that and send that out. And in honor of the 25th, we'll even write 25th anniversary on it. So,
Yeah.
but you'll have to dig. It's in the just you'll have to dig in the site, folks. But you'll find it. It's there.
I can't believe that it's been that long ago now.
I know.
It
I flew
just
to
doesn't.
Australia to do that too, man. I'll never do
Wow.
that again,
So
dude. That was 19-hour flight.
that's a lot. That is a
Well,
lot.
and I'm just a redneck, from Louisiana down here, Missouri boy originally.
Yeah.
I get on that plane, that we flew from here to Houston, Houston to LAX, and then we had a 7-hour layover in, like we got in at like 5 o'clock LA time, and the plane
Yeah.
didn't leave till midnight. So we finally get on the plane and we're flying this big old jumbo jet, and we're headed across the ocean to Australia. And I get on the plane, the lady comes by, the stewardess, and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am." I said, how long is this flight? And I really thought she was going to say 4 or 5 hours, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, honey," she says, "it's not going to be that long. I think probably, let's see, we don't have a tailwind, so that'll add a little extra time, but somewhere around 18, 19 hours." And I went, "Did you just say 19 hours? Like in 19 hours
Yeah.
or 9 hours?" She says, "Honey, do you like movies?" I said, "I love movies." She says, "Good, you're going to get to watch about 8 of them."
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a rough deal for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. There was I remember hearing a comedian tell a joke one time about how the flight to Australia is so long, it almost feels like you've died, and this is you make once you get there, it's like
yeah,
getting to
you're in
heaven or
heaven.
something. Yeah.
Well, here's one thing for you to tell you how far away you are. We left. We went, did the voiceover and all that stuff, and we left to come home on a Friday morning in LA. We were actually in Brisbane, Australia. So that's about an hour north. You land in Sydney, then you
Hmm.
fly for an hour up to Brisbane. Okay.
Okay.
So we woke up Friday morning from Brisbane, got the ride from the driver to the airport. We flew from Brisbane to Sydney, went through customs there, got on the big jumbo jet, flew home to LA. We are okay. So now keep in mind, now we left Brisbane at 6 a.m. sharp.
Yeah.
We arrived in LA at 6 a.m. sharp Friday morning, the same morning. That's after 19 hours of being in the plane. So it was all confusing, man. Calling home, talking to the kids, we're calling, hey,
yeah.
what's going on? They're like, Scott, it's 3 in the freaking morning. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
So I like to ask this question a lot when I have people on here that have done conventions and stuff. What is one of your favorite fan interactions that you've had?
I've had a bunch, but I'll tell you one that was real touching. You know, you really don't know what these characters have touched so many people's lives. Okay.
Right, right.
I mean, look, I'm a voice. These characters, and I am honored to have gotten to bring these characters to life. Um, I had a little boy in Corpus Christi, Texas, that kept watching me from the side. And after about an hour and a half, I shoot him over, and he's like, he didn't want to come over, but
Yeah.
I kept harping, and he came over, and he told me, he said, look, my dad's here. I don't want him to catch me over here. He says, but he and my mom fight all the time. It's just real ugly. I get underneath my bed and I watch Scooby-Doo, and it's actually saved my life. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, I was real close to committing suicide. And
Mm,
he says, but I kept finding myself chuckling and laughing at Scooby-Doo, and it took me out of that mental state.
yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's just really good. And then, and so I had to give him anything he wanted, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I went to a funeral, and I was viewing the body, and this grandma was in the casket, and the grandson, who was probably, I don't know, 8 years old, kept telling me, Mr. Scott, would you do the voice? And I'm like, well, as soon as I maybe I'll do it outside. He goes, well,
Yeah.
Grandma said that it's okay. And I said, Grandma. She says, yeah. And he pointed to his grandma who was in the casket.
Yeah.
And I said, really? And the mom looks at me and she says, he's been talking to his grandmother all week since she died. And I
Oh,
said, really? So anyway, he says, Grandma would love to hear it. Now, by then, about 5, 6, 7 people that are around heard that. And they're all staring at me now. So I'm like, okay,
yeah.
okay, really? So I
Yeah.
go into the Scooby-Doo, where are you? Well, hi, Grandma. And he starts laughing and laughing. He says, Grandma says, thank you. She's laughing too. She's so appreciative. He says, she's going to go to heaven now. And I'm just like,
Oh, wow.
I'm listening to this go down. This is a 7-year-old kid.
Wow.
And so that was yeah, that was different. And and the mom followed me out. She goes, you wouldn't believe half the stuff this kid's been saying about it. Grandma, he's been carrying on a full-blown conversation with
Yeah.
his grandmother,
Yeah.
even has her comments back that he says back. And so I'm just like, okay, um so yeah, those are two that really stand out. You know what I mean? That
Right.
but I've had a ton of them. These characters
Yeah. Yeah.
are just phenomenal.
Well, and there's so many of them, that you've done. I was looking at the list and I had no idea how many different characters that you had actually played, because
I've been very fortunate enough to bring about 30 of the most popular Hanna-Barbera characters, whether it be for a promo, for
yeah.
Cartoon Network, a cartoon short, um, Fred Flintstone, Barney Rubble for Toshiba copiers.
Yeah.
I also did them in a bunch of um, Cartoon Network promos. I
Yeah.
only did. I rarely don't really put this on my picture anymore, but somebody said I should because I have voiced it, so I did. But I did one thing as Bugs Bunny one time
Okay.
for AT&T, and it was a thing where I went in and I did Elmer Fudd, I did Foghorn, and I think and Bugs Bunny, and it was a real short deal where you bought this package and the characters answered the phone for you.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
what's up, Doc? Scott's not here, but if you leave your name and number and he feels inclined, he'll call you back. Ain't I a stinker? So, and it's like, I'll sit, pay attention, boy. I said, you see that little house over there that says DOG? I said, that spells chicken. Go get them, boy.
Oh my gosh. So when my dad and mom listen back to this, because I told them I was doing this tonight with you, they're gonna have a blast because
Oh,
you're
cool.
voicing some of their favorite characters as well. Um,
You know, people ask me all the time, say, is there one character that you didn't voice that you wish you had?
yeah, I actually
And
have that on here.
it's the one character that really inspired me to be a voice actor. And I remember I used to skip school, play, hooky and be fake sick to watch Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And I loved Kermit the Frog.
Okay.
And and so in my show that I do, in fact, I always sing Rainbow Connection.
Hmm.
And again, here comes one of these serendipity moments. But I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma last year, and I met up with Paul Williams, who wrote Rainbow Connection.
Hmm.
And he's written Rainy Days and Mondays Always Get Me Down from the Carpenters, so many others. He played Little Enos on the, Smokey and the Bandit and all that.
Yeah.
Great songwriter. And he said, I said, yeah, I told him that story. And he says, really? Well, I'm going to come listen to it. I didn't think he was serious. But by golly, he did it. I looked up when that thing went down, 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 and he's standing in the doorway. And you talk about pressure. And I go into, why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? And I sang this song, and I kind of fancy myself a little bit of the Jim Henson because I'm a Jim Henson fan,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I tend to do his Kermit the Frog, and he gave me this huge thumbs up at the end, and I thought, wow, Paul Williams just gave me a thumbs up. I mean, here's one of those serendipity moments, and again, in my book. So life's been really good,
Yeah.
it's not been, life's what you make it. And for me, I made it a bowl of Captain Crunch with the box sitting next to me to keep refilling with an extra gallon and a jug of milk. And I enjoyed life. I woke up every Saturday morning like every red-blooded American kid, and I watched Goober and the Ghost Chasers. I watched Super Friends. I watched Speed Racer, Speed Buggy, Scooby-Doo, and What's New, not What's New Scooby-Doo, but the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, all that stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was that kid, man. My first click, I'm probably not the now, but I'm one of the world's largest Scooby-Doo collectors of merchandise.
Okay.
And I was on a DVD extra of Scooby-Doo where they showcased all my memorabilia. And so to have all of this at my fingertips and to still have the actual first piece of Scooby-Doo that my grandmother, that probably helped get me into this, but she bought me an old metal lunch pill box, Scooby-Doo lunch pill from 1972.
Yeah.
And I still have it. And she bought that at Benjamin Franklin. Do you remember the old Benjamin Franklin stores years ago?
No, I don't.
You probably don't. How old are
Uh-uh.
you?
36.
Oh, yeah, you don't remember. But the thing about that is that's where Sam Walton from Walmart, that's
Okay.
where Sam got his start working, and that's what gave him the idea for Walmart.
Well, I actually live in the that area. I'm in Northwest Arkansas.
Okay, good. Well,
So
I'm going to
yeah.
be in Northwest Arkansas coming up this next year. So,
Oh, sweet. Okay.
yeah, they haven't announced it yet, but I just let the cat out of the bag. So, well, we couldn't make it last year because y'all had a snowstorm over there.
We did. Yeah. I was so bummed out because we had a booth and everything for the comic books
Northwest Comic
and
Con. Yeah.
yep, Northwest Arkansas Comic Con, and I was ready to go, and then they canceled it. I was so bummed out about that one.
Well, we'll be back this year,
Good, good.
and we're gonna come to Springfield, Missouri again too. So we'll be doing
Okay,
two.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that one. That's the very first Comic Con that I ever went to was that one, and that's where I got my very first voice actor for the show.
Wow.
Was I was wearing my podcast T-shirt, and I was talking to J. Michael Tatum. He's an anime voice actor for Crunchyroll. He does, and I know him from bunch of different voices. But
Right.
we were just sitting there talking. He was asking about my shirt and the show and everything like that. And I kind of made a joke, and I was like, "Hey, maybe one day I'll be able to get you on my show." And he was like, "Well, why can't you do that now?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So, and that was how I got my first voice actor on the show.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. And I learned something that day. All they can do is tell you no.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
worst that
my
can happen.
motto.
Yep.
My dad used to tell me that all the time. I can't tell you how many times he told me, he says, "You don't get if you don't ask."
Exactly.
And
Yep.
it's funny because I've used that motto when I was, 13, 14, 15. All my buddies were taking these girls out, and nobody was scoring. Let's just put it that way. And I was kind of a little bit of a player. Again, I was a chubby kid in husky jeans, and I would rather be on the radio, which I was at the time,
Yeah.
than to be on a date. But
Yeah.
I would always get the girl, and I'd always go out and have fun. And my buddies would come up to me and they're like, "Ennis, I don't understand it. You're chubby. You're wearing husky jeans. You wear cheap Walmart shoes. You're not a looker. You got acne problems, but you're scoring with all the chicks."
Yeah.
He goes, "How are you doing that?" And I go, "Well, you want the honest to God truth? You guys wine and dine these girls and you take them out. You spend all this money on them, and 6 weeks later, you're in the same position. Me, I ain't got time to do all that." I look at her and I go, "Hey, you want to go out? You want to get frisky? You want to have fun?" "No." Hey, Susie, you want to go out and have fun? No." "Hey, Amy, you want to go out and have fun and get frisky?" "Oh, you do? Okay, let's go." Boom. I just solved 3 weeks worth of work there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so my dad and I used to laugh about that. And
Yeah.
he goes, "That's a great way to look at it." And so I just told him, I said, "You don't get if you don't ask."
Yeah.
And the only thing a person can tell you is no or yes. And
Right.
if you're lucky, sometimes you score the big interview, they'll say yes when they really wanted to say no, but they don't want to hurt your feelings. But
Yeah.
guess what? You still got the interview, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, we're kind of coming up close to a close here. I've got just a few more questions for you, and
cool.
then we'll get you off of here. Um, do you have anything that maybe you want to talk about before we get you off of here?
Not really. I just want to tell people, here's the deal. And I tell this to everybody: you can be anything you want to be in your life. Okay. I've had three goals in my life, bucket list goals.
Mm-hmm.
One was to win a CMA from the Country Music Association in Nashville. One was to become the voice of Scooby-Doo, and one was to write a hit song for Kenny Rogers because I loved Kenny Rogers. I'm one of my favorite friends and favorite artists through the years.
Yeah.
And in 1997, I stood on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. They handed me the CMA trophy for Air Personality of the Year. The next night, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island went on sale nationwide with me as the voice of Scooby-Doo. And 4 years later, I wrote Handprints on the Wall for Kenny Rogers, his last charting song before he died.
Wow.
So here's the deal. You can do whatever you want. Bill Clinton once said in his book, he told the teachers, he said, "One day I'm going to be the president of the United States." Well, that's a 78-year-old boy telling a teacher that.
Right.
Like him or not, Democrat, Republican, it's irrelevant. He did it.
Yeah.
And so the bottom line, folks, is follow your dreams, never say no. People ask me, "How did you physically get the job at 12 years old being a radio personality?" And I said, "I'll tell you, every day I got out of school and I walked past that little KLID radio station and I walked in the door, and Lee Stone, who was the program director, says, 'Scott, I'm going to tell you again, like I told you yesterday, we can't hire you. You're too young and we just don't have a position.' Okay, I'll see you tomorrow." I walked right past that thing, and I'm going to tell you, I did it for a year.
Oh, wow.
And one day I walked in there and he says, "Scott, sit down. Look, I got to give it to you. You are a go-getter. I wish my salespeople we're as big a go-getter as you.
Yeah.
He says, but I can't hire you. There's no position. Do you understand what I'm telling you? There's not a job here. I mean, unless, you can clean up, mop, and take the trash out. There's not a job. Hey, wait, what? What'd you say?
Hmm.
Well, I mean, you're not going to want to take the job. Yes. When do I start? Really? You want to do that? Yes. If it'll get me in this door, I'll do it. And for about 2 months, I was the head janitor at the radio station. And Skipper T, which I told you about earlier,
Yeah.
was teaching me how to run the board, how to record commercials, how to run American Top 40, all that. And one day Lee came in. He said, "We got a problem. Skipper T's sick. You wouldn't happen to know how to run the board, do you?" I go, "Oh yeah, I run it better than Skipper T does." He says, "Really?" So he says, "Well, you're on, buddy. Don't let me down." And that's what started my radio career right there. So, and I'll never forget. I wanted to talk so bad over that microphone, and I was told never open up the microphone and talk. Do you understand that? You can run the church programming, you can run all the other programming, the football game, and an American Top 40.
Yeah.
Never, never start that microphone up. Never turn it on. Of course, unless you can sound like Casey Kasem. I don't want to hear it. And I would, and that is what made me go, huh? Well, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So one day he was driving down the road, and at the top of the hour, he heard do 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 do. I'm Casey Kasem on KLID, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Now on with the countdown. American time. He called me and he goes, "Dude, when did we get the new liners in?" I said, "That was me." He's like, "What?" So that's just
Yeah.
my mom once said, God rest her soul. She said, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, when life gives you no's, sometimes you've just got to navigate yourself around the no.
Right.
Opportunity, man. And that's what I do. I look for the silver lining in every possibility. I don't know if you've seen the funny thing on Dumb and Dumber when he's asking the girl to date him, and she says, "You don't understand. There's no chance in hell that we're going to get." He goes, "Oh, come on, there's got to be a chance." And she says, "It's a small chance." And he goes,
But you're
"Well, what
saying
is it?"
there's
She
a
says,
chance.
"Yeah, you're saying that there's a chance." And
Yep.
that's all it takes, man. That's all you
Yeah.
need to hear sometimes. So,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, that's my motto, man. And
I
have
love it.
fun doing it.
Yeah, I find that as inspiration, especially for this. And I thank you for being here on the show tonight. I've really enjoyed talking to you. If people want to follow you or they want to find out what you got going on, what's a good way for them to
Well,
do
I'm
that?
gonna tell you the best way. I'm a little old fashioned. My wife teases me. I'm on an Instagram account, but I couldn't even tell you what it is. You got to like me on Facebook. Two ways: Scott Ennis Radio Show. You can follow me there. If you get lucky, send me a friend request at Scott Ennis. It's a picture of me and my wife
Yeah,
on there. Or you can go to Scott SCOTT shop SHOP.com. Check me out. I sell some of my paintings and things up there. Or follow me on Cajun Con, man. CajunConLA.com or just Cajun Con Cajun Con on Facebook. Follow us as we make a miracle happen. And either that or I'll crash and burn. You can see that firsthand too. So, but it's all going to go down. It's going to be a big deal. And I'll leave you with this right here that Casey Kasem used to close every one of his shows with. And it's stuck with me all these years. I'm Casey Kasem. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
all right, man. Thank you so much again for being on the show. I will
That's
talk to
all
you
good.
for a few more minutes after we end this, but we're going to say bye here for now. Thank you so much.
It's all great. Thank you so much for having me.
There's a thing I'm supposed to do here. And we're back. All right. How'd y'all like that episode? Was it exciting? Did you have fun? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn a lot of things? I hope that you did. We both hope that you did. We hope that you had fun. We hope you enjoyed listening to Scott Inez. Scott, thank you so much for coming on. Sorry you had to talk to just Jared and not me, but you know, It happens.
It does. Yeah,
But we appreciate you taking the time out. Hopefully we see you soon in the future.
absolutely. He's got some cool stuff coming up. I would kind of like to go to Cajun Con. I think that would be a lot of fun. So maybe we can
Everybody and their brother's going to Cajun Con, so
I,
I mean,
somewhere between 80 and 90 different celebrities, I think is what they said. Is
everybody but us
everybody but us. So hey,
currently. You know,
currently, yes. You
wink,
know,
wink, nudge,
things couldn't
nudge.
happen. Hint, hint, yeah. Uh, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I do want to apologize to my video watchers for this episode. There was some glitching towards in certain parts of our recording, and so I do apologize for that. Zoom has been having a difficult time keeping up with some of these here lately. So, but man, I had a blast talking to him. It was funny because I'd be sitting there talking to him, and all of a sudden there would be like a ghost clown mask that would come across the screen. Like he was all the time, like he changed hats in the middle of the interview,
Funny.
He's something else.
I can't believe you won a CMA award.
I know, yeah, yeah,
that was really cool to know, find out about him. So,
yeah. I mean, all of his ties that
I
he
don't,
has to country music is insane.
yeah, that's crazy. Just that wasn't something that was in my head canon for Scott,
Right,
that he won a CMA award. But that's pretty cool, man. I mean, I like when we have these interviews with people, and then you find out things that you don't even know, even if you know who the person is ahead of time,
right,
or if you do your research on the person,
yeah,
you still not good enough for know every single thing, and
right,
it's just cool because our podcast we try to steer away from an interview format. Obviously, we kind of have to ask questions and stuff like that just to steer the conversation forward. But we try to really hammer home that conversational feel.
right,
And you really noticed that in your episode this week, and then of course last week's episode. If you go back and listen to that to me and Mike, it was just like I mean, I think I talked as much about me as almost as much as he did him. But
right,
it was just because we were just finding that that flow and the similar thing, and I think that's really good about this podcast.
yeah.
Like I said, I was a fan before I was on the show, so
Right.
it's not just a biased opinion. But yeah, man, how's your week been? So did you have a good fourth?
Uh,
Technically, it's tomorrow, but as of you listening or watching this, it was last
it was
week. So
last week.
let's talk about past Nick and Jared, not the future Nick and Jared of today.
Nick, we had a great time. We got
We
to
hung
play in some
out.
water. We hung out, watched some fireworks, ate some hamburgers and
Mhm.
hot dogs and stuff, having a good time with our families, hanging out together. So, yeah, it's always a good time.
Yeah, just a bunch of old people and their kids and hanging out and not shooting off fireworks, watching them shoot off the fireworks, and went to the water park, had a good old time. I'm sure I have a
Mhm.
nice tan. Maybe next week's episode, you're gonna be like, "Ooh, look at that brown skin of his." But that's I normally have a darker complexion than
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
But it's just that the sun just radiates off me. And hey, check out those shirt today, Whispers in the
Nice.
Dark.
Nice. I
Yeah,
like that
man.
shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the really nice lady made these.
I
But
wonder who that is.
we'll shout her out later during
Okay.
the
Yeah,
ending
yeah,
stuff. You
that's
know
fine.
how it goes.
That's fine. Yeah.
But yeah, Whispers in the Dark issue 2 should be almost completed.
Nice.
Vengeance issue 5 is almost completed. So it's a good time. So
Yeah.
both of those will probably be dropping next month. So
Awesome. Awesome.
be on the lookout.
Yeah. There's
Uh,
a bunch of really cool stuff that's, coming out here. Actually off subject, but still kind of in the same realm. I
I know
just
where you're
got,
going.
do you,
Go ahead.
have you heard of Murder Podcast?
That's funny because I just got an email about Murder Podcast today to fill out my survey for the
I did too.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
High five, virtual high
High
five.
five. Yeah.
High five, very nice. Yeah, Murder Podcast, the new
So
book that Jeremy Hahn's putting out.
that's
Friend
right.
of the show, friend of the pod, former guest,
He will be a guest next month, actually.
a
I'm going to be,
future
yeah,
future second
that's right.
time guest
Yep.
person.
Got that all set up. We actually got to see him when we went to ArtCon, you know.
I may have to hop on that one
Okay,
because
yeah,
I gave him I gave him a copy of The Eighth Day and The Whispers in the Dark, and I really want him to like just be like, either A, tell me he didn't read it, or B, tell me that it sucked. One of the two is going to happen. I'm not for sure which one it is, but I guarantee he's not. Oh yeah, I read it. And it was really good. No, that's not going to happen. However, because it's just I feel his writing is just so much more than better than mine.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyways, yeah, murder podcast. I'm really excited about that, man.
I am too. I actually, I think there's like a bonus thing that I got with it. It was like
Oh, a pin,
the
yeah.
pin. Yeah.
Everybody
So
got that because it
that's
was
cool.
like a stretch goal.
Right, right. So I was like, oh, cool. I got something extra with it. So I'm excited to read it. Whenever he had this come out, it grabbed my attention, obviously, because I'm a podcaster. I'm like, oh, I want to know what's happening here. And I actually talked to him. I reached out, and we kind of chatted back and forth on Instagram about it whenever he was starting to do that. So I'm definitely excited to see what this story is and what's going to happen. So yeah.
Yeah, one of the many things we can talk about with him the next time he when he comes on.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That and we can talk about the beauty, I think, too, because
Yeah,
they're
the
making that
beauty.
into a TV show.
Right.
Yeah. Ryan Murphy, who does American Horror Story, is the one who I guess is the one who's creating that. So
Also created Glee. Fun fact.
did he really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Actually, I believe Glee came out before the first season of American Horror Story.
It
So,
did. Yeah, it definitely did, but I had no
and
idea
then
that he was
he
on that.
also did that show after Glee, Scream Queens, I think it was called, which
Yeah.
had the girl from Glee, had Rachel Leah Michelle in it. So I
Okay.
think it only
Okay.
lasted like one, maybe two seasons, but I never
Kind of
watched it.
remember it, but I didn't ever watch it either. So, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, that happened. That happened. That was a thing. Pretty sure. I'm
Well,
pretty sure I'm
that's
not making it up.
we're gonna get somebody, messing. Actually, that's not what happened.
I, that sounds just like Maverick, by the way, and I'm gonna have him tell you that tomorrow. So because he says actually, just like that.
Actually,
That's exactly how he says it too.
awesome,
Um,
awesome.
what was I gonna say? I thought I didn't know you were gonna go there.
Yeah.
By the way, that's not where I thought we were gonna go. I thought you were
Oh.
gonna go, hey, when this podcast comes out, we'll be just a few days from seeing Superman. That's what I thought you were gonna go to.
This is true, which I am really stoked about. I can't wait. And every time they come out with something new online, it just makes me more and more excited about this movie. So,
If we do see it on opening weekend, I gotta bring all my kids, all three of the older boys with me, because there's no way, because they'll all be there next weekend,
yeah.
and there's no way I'm getting out of the house to go see Superman without them.
Well, I actually think Stacia might be wants to join us too to see this movie. So
Maybe the littles won't be here, and then we'll be able to go with the older boys, and
that
then
would work.
Lacey and Stasia can go too.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Look at us making
Anyways,
plans on the
look at
podcast,
us, look at us, look at us, guys, look at us. But let's
Yeah,
really excited about Superman,
yeah,
and get my thoughts. So we've been talking about it for a long time.
right. I even bought the t-shirt that's the new Superman symbol and everything. And man, so I don't know. You probably already know this about me. It's obvious, and I think we've talked about it plenty of times. But Superman's my favorite DC character. So
Yeah,
I this one feels like a lot of. It has that hope feel to it, like Superman's supposed to have. And so I'm very excited. Somebody actually said that this is like a live action episode of you know Superman the animated series, and so I'm pretty
yeah.
stoked about that. It's got the sci-fi realm to it and everything about it, like they had in the cartoons, and so that's gonna be really cool, really cool. Plus, me and you've talked about this how um, uh, James Gunn is a Smallville fan, so there are going to be elements
hmm
in there for Smallville as
It's
well.
called Luthor Corp instead of Lex Corp, and he did that
Yep,
just because of Smallville. So I'm
yep,
really excited about that. Small. Hopefully, we're gonna get that Smallville breakdown episode with us and Colin. It's already on the books.
yep, yep.
Hopefully we get it goes through, so that way, uh, my work gets we could use it.
All
So it'll be
that work
good.
that you put into it, and we still haven't even got to do it yet. But
It's all right. All right.
I will say that we've got things in the works for it to be happening here very soon.
Yeah.
So be staying tuned for that stuff. But we're going to move on to another segment that's actually become pretty fun on this show, and that is In the Stacks with Nick. You're going to talk about a book today that I'm very interested in hearing what your thoughts are on it and kind of explaining this book because it is somebody that that I've talked to on the show, and probably we're going to talk to him again. So, Nick, here you go.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, guys. In the stacks with Nick.
Yeah.
Anyways, as you know, on In the Stacks, I talk about other people's stuff. And sometimes it's independent stuff, and sometimes I just pick stuff from my own collection, which sometimes leads to interviews. So that's how it works. Fun fact, I got a new independent book that was sent to me today. Going to be reading about that next week. But instead, we're going to read one from my collection. And it is Displacement from Cullen Bunn.
Ooh.
Big time comic book writer, writes tons
Yes.
of comic books. He's actually been on this show. So if you want to go back and listen to that, you can find that in the list of all the episodes. You just scroll up, make sure you listen to all the episodes that I was on, and then listen to the color one. So and hopefully we're in talks to have him back on the show.
We
So
are.
nothing locked down, but he
Yeah.
is interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Displacement is actually a small little novella, I guess.
Okay.
It's 139 pages. So it's put out by this company called TKO. This is part of their TKO Rogue line. So they put out comics, Jared. So just let's talk about TKO for a minute. So TKO has their own website, Jared. They only put their books out on through the TKO website and Amazon as well. But they publish everything themselves. And they get these like big time creators like Cullen Bunn and stuff to do like actual comic books. And the comic books they put out, you can either get them as six single issues like in a sleeve,
Hmm.
or you can get them as in like a trade form. So
Okay.
if you want to
Okay. Yeah.
book. I've had both of those. I've had some with in the book, and then I've had some single issue was as well. So it just really depends way you want it.
Right.
But it's like I said, they publish everything through themselves, through the website or on Amazon. Like a couple years ago, I guess they put out a bunch of these short book things, novellas for the TK Rogue, and they had like people. A lot of them were written by people that are comic book writers, but then some other ones as well. So I actually have four of these,
Okay.
but this one's Cullen, and I chose this one to read because I wanted to read something quick,
Yeah.
and it's a very quick read on 139 pages. And I chose this one because of Cullen. That's the one I decided to do. I was going to read one of them, and I was like, we've had Cullen on the show,
Yeah.
so why not? All right. So from New York Times best-selling author Cullen Bunn, who writes Harrow County and The Sixth Gun, comes a sleek and terrifying psychological thriller exploring the darkest depths of the human mind. Dr. Rachel Anderson treats those who suffer from the most extreme phobias: fear of crowds, fear of the outdoors, fear of death. But after a session with a violent patient goes awry and her daughter goes missing, the only way Rachel will survive the night and save her daughter is to face her own fears. A chilling ride and dive into one mother's quest for safety, featuring illustrations by Allison Sampson. So, just like in some of the, let me just find one
Okay.
the illustrations. So I just got these like these illustrations here. It's only for video
Oh,
people.
okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
audio people are like, what the hell? Damn it, Bobby.
Maybe you
Um,
should subscribe to our YouTube channel.
I don't know, maybe.
Hey,
They're like,
hey,
look at y'all's faces. Hey. Anyway, so as you know, I'm a big proponent of mental health.
Yep.
Um, May is mental health month. Obviously, it's July. But hey, anyways, I'm just letting you know in case you didn't know. I'm a
Right.
big proponent of mental health. I've had ran my own mental health Comic Con one year, a couple years ago in Sheridan. Big proponent of that.
Yep.
Anyways, this book has a lot to do about mental health and people's different fears and trying to overcome those fears. And but this doctor, Dr. Rachel Anderson, she uses these extreme methods to get over people's fears. You know the word unorthodox? They call
Yes.
her the unorthodox.
Ah, okay. I
Yeah.
like it.
So I don't want to give too much away, okay?
Right, right.
Even though the back matter kind of gave away. So there's daughter, um, and she treats patients and doing in unorthodox ways.
Hmm.
So like fear of germs. Okay, go out and ride the subway and like touch a bunch of stuff that people have touched. Uh, and then the person that did that started licking the stuff and then got sick and died and shit like this. You know,
Ah,
just
okay.
go face your fears of being outdoors and this person. And I want you to go camping this weekend or scared of the dark or something like that. Go camping by yourself. And then she like broke her ankle falling down a hill and then couldn't get up or some junk like this, and then she
Oh
died
no.
or
Oh
almost died.
no.
Anyways,
Okay.
that's how she become so newsworthy and all that. Anyways,
Yeah.
you don't really know that until like halfway in this book. So, quick thoughts on it. I like this book. I like this book a lot. Um, but I will say that it took a bit for me to get really interested in, and I would
Okay.
say probably halfway.
Okay.
The first half is really slow. Like it takes a lot to get there to where, because at first it's just like she's seeing patients and they're going in and then they're going out, and her daughter and her live in this apartment building, and the office is connected to the apartment, and then and it's just like really slow, and there's like some issues between her and her daughter and stuff like this. And but once it gets there, Jared,
Yeah.
it goes batshit crazy. So, so it's really hard to be like, don't pick this up because it's really slow. Look,
Right.
basically what I'm saying is it just takes its time to get there, but when it gets there, it gets there. Okay? So you just gotta give it its moment. All right.
Yeah.
Get through the book. Maybe you may feel it's a little sluggish at times, but I mean, it's just, 60 something to 70 something pages. Just get through it. Like I said, it's very quick. I mean, it's a smaller book. I mean, it's very, if you look at the font, like on the video here, you can
Yeah.
see it's not a lot. Okay. It's not
Right.
a lot.
Right.
There's not tons of words and the pages aren't very big. So, I mean, it's very, I mean, handheld size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me. Um, but once, like I said, it's just nuts. And I'm just like, at the end of it, I was just like, what the fuck just happened? Like, like I mean, like I don't know really what else to say.
Yeah.
What just happened? Like in the book, like I just kept reading. I was like, I don't. What is going on? Like, what is? It's just
Yeah.
I just don't want to. There's stuff I could say, but I can't say because if I do, then it like just read the
Right.
fucking book, okay? Read the fucking book, all right? I'm
Uh,
gonna give it a 4 out of 5
Okay.
stars. 4 out of 5
Oh,
stars. And that's because it takes a minute,
okay.
and I if it could lose people
Right.
in that first 17 pages. And I
Right.
know there should be setup in books and stuff like that. I know, and I mean I'm not one to say I'm a writer, and I'm not gonna. It's hard to critique other people's stuff when you're a writer as well
Yeah, for
because it's
sure.
like, oh, okay, well my writing's not that good, so but I mean whatever, like
Yeah.
it's just. But thinking about it overall, if I felt like it was slow,
Hmm.
then what are other people going to fall and think as well? And I kind of got to put all that in my head when I do these.
Right.
And since there was a moment of like, I wish something would happen. That's why I had to knock it down. But everything else after that's great. So that's why I can't give it the 4.5, which is the normal highest that I do, because 5 is perfect.
Right.
Um, so I'm gonna give it the 4. I'm gonna give it the 4 out of 5.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, I would actually think I like reading that.
It's
So,
very quick, man. It's
yeah.
very quick.
I like quick books. I like quick. So, that's the reason why I like comics. Well, that and I just like comics. So, but yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming on to do this every week because,
Yeah.
it's something that, like I said last week, something you're passionate about and you're going to give your true thoughts on it. So anybody who wants to have your stuff reviewed in the stacks with Nick, then send us an email or send us a message on any of the social media. You can send us an email at giveadatapodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you guys, and Nick would love to review your stuff.
I would.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that. Like I got an email today, and I will be reading that book for next week. So
Okay.
and potential interview in the future, depending
Yeah.
on how I feel about the book. But it's a horror
Oh,
book,
okay.
and so I'm pretty excited.
Pretty
It's in my wheel.
excited.
It's in my wheelhouse, so I'm pretty excited about it. All right, all right.
All right, all right.
All right, all right, all right.
Well, we are going to move on to the end part of this show to where we kind of
So we're
thank
wrap it
everybody.
up.
We're going to wrap it up. We're coming up close to a close.
There you
So,
go.
yeah.
There's that catchphrase I love.
So, if you like what you're hearing here, make sure that you also check out our podcast networks that we are part of, the OIW Podcasting Network and the Zero to Hero Podcasting Network. They have all kinds of cool different podcasts that you can listen to, watch on there, and they have some really amazing content. Make sure you check them out when you're not watching episodes of If You Give a Dad a Podcast. If you want to go back and check some of these other episodes that me and Nick have talked about tonight, we've had Cullen Bunn on the show, we've had Jeremy Hahn on the show, we've had lots of really cool episodes in the past, and if you get a chance, go back and check those out as well. We would love for you to go back, look at those. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's in our link tree that you can find on there as well. Also, make sure that you check out our brother podcasts. I was giving you a chance to come in.
Okay. Okay. For one, I thought you froze.
Uh,
I was like, "Are you there? Are you
I'm
there?"
still here.
Anyways, let's you can leave this in. It's fun. Our brother podcast, like if you give a dad a YouTube channel from Cosplay Dude 637, and if you give a dad, I got that backwards. If you give a dad
Yeah.
a YouTube channel from Ty Tiger, and if you give a dad a cosplay from Cosplay Dude 637.
That's right. Yeah, they both have some really cool content on there to help
It's
you
been a
to
long week
get.
at work, okay? It's been a
Uh,
long week at work. I
Man,
apologize.
I totally get it. It's been a long week at work. It was for me. It was 3 days, but good Lord, it was a long 3 days.
I work
So
for her, and I saw some stuff this week that have
kind of like last week too.
affected me. Yeah,
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit. Not
yeah,
as bad, but it's one of the things. I'll tell you
yeah.
about it more tomorrow. But
Okay,
anyways,
okay. Anyways, if you like, um,
those channels, check them
yeah,
out.
those channels.
Those are our brother podcasts. Sorry, guys. Listen, this is what happens when you give a dad a podcast, okay? Our
Yep.
brains are frazzled. We have children, we have jobs, and sometimes it's just hard to get the words out and to remember what we said and what we're supposed to say. But that's
Words are
okay.
hard.
But that's okay because you decided to listen to today's episode of If You Give a Dad a Podcast. So
That's
therefore,
right.
if you're a dad, you understand. And if you're not a dad, yeah.
Ah, yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, yeah.
but don't while you're listening to things, guys, don't forget to listen to D Cure, who does
Yeah.
our ending theme music. You can find his music everywhere that you listen to podcasts. And this people are shooting fireworks off at my house. Uh, and he releases a lot of great albums. He's going by all these letters, and he's going to be releasing his new album in August called
Yeah.
Scout.
Yep, yep. We are officially on S now, and I'm excited to hear what he has. I've listened to I think I've listened to every single album that he's come out with and everything. I don't understand how somebody can produce so much music so quickly and it all be quality stuff. But the dude is a
Mhm.
monster, and when it comes to creating new music, he's amazing at what he does. So if you like that, if you like our ending theme song, make sure that you check him out. It is in our show notes as well. Also, if you like the way this show sounds, if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, make sure that you rate and review this. Tell us what you think of it. whether you like it, whether you don't. Leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you like the video, that you comment on there, that you share this. Make sure that you share this podcast with your friends, your family, all of those crazy people that Nick always tells us about.
Yeah, make sure you share with all your friends, your enemies, like Jared said, and share with your gardener. He's out there in this heat mowing your yard, so
Yep,
your lazy ass doesn't have to get out there and do it yourself. So share this podcast with him so that way he can listen while he mows your grass.
that's right. And thank you, Gardner Man, for
And there's
the
water
people.
in the fridge if you need one.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you to everyone who listens to this episode every week. We appreciate you guys. If it wasn't for you, then we wouldn't be here doing this. And we greatly appreciate everyone who listens and who shares this show. Um, I believe,
Merch,
yes.
merch.
Talking
Don't you
about the
do
merch.
talked
He's
about it. We got to shout her out.
We do. My wife actually makes all this. If you look up Stickers by Stacia, she is the one who makes all the merch for iGadap as well as everything for OG. And so if you want some cool merch, go ahead and check her page out, which is Stickers by Stacia. You can find her on Etsy. She's also got an Instagram page, I believe, and possibly a Facebook page as well. So yeah,
She possibly does. At least she
possibly
had a Facebook
she
page,
she
so she
did.
should still have one.
Still should be there.
Yeah.
I haven't looked lately, but
But we do have an Etsy page as well.
we do.
It's in the
Yes.
link tree.
Yep.
And originalgeek.org, you can get the Original Geek shirts that she makes
Yep.
and as well as our comics, but you have to get Vengeance issue 4 on our Facebook page
Right.
because
Science.
life.
Yeah. So
But that means that's pretty much all the housekeeping. I am this week's episode is just
it's a blast.
words. It's I hope you guys like this. We're not professionals.
No.
Even though this is episode 160,
Yep.
words still are sometimes hard.
They are. And I'll just leave off with this. I have a question for you, Nick.
Oh God. All right, come on. I can do this, guys. All right. Come on, Billy. Come on, Ty. Get
What do you
behind me,
call
guys. Let's do this.
what do you call a ghost with a broken leg?
I don't know, but he's got a boo-boo.
Dang it! A boo-boo.
Yeah. Suck it.
Ah. Okay. Well, we love you guys. We hope you have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time.
God, I'm so excited. I hope you guys are excited. Please send me a message. Tell me how much you love me. Thank you. All right.
Damn it, Nick.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm in my room rounded, but I got a podcast on. He calls us beautiful people, then tells us who we have on. The best part of my day, though we're blocked out in my pods. Tell my friends all about it so that they follow along. And the host is kinda nerdy, but guess what I am as well. I don't feel so alone and I began walking out of my shell. Heard a story, I need a connection I haven't felt. I'll be looking for the next one, till then farewell. It's the podcast from